Xin chào everybody, it's your boy Brandon, the Gunpla Chef. As you can see, summer has finally come to Finland. I feel so much motivated and full of happiness right now. Which is why today I will be working on this here model kit. The Plaiobot Lazengann. As the name suggests, this is a model kit based on a mecha from the anime Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. I have previously made a video reviewing a model kit from this same Plaiobot line before, which is the titular Gurren Lagann. It was a great model kit, but it did require a lot of work and it was not beginner friendly at all. Needless to say, with my experience having built the Gurren Lagann, I am quite excited, but at the same time cautious when I'm going into this build. So, without any delay, let us start by unpacking this box here and check what we have to deal with. Here's the cooking manual, the runner pack in individual package, and oh, what a nice sticker sheet! I wonder what I'll do with it. Please excuse my futile attempt of playing Tetris as we observe the runners. There are in total 12 of them, divided between black, red, silver, and a tiny bit of dark blue. The plastic is of high quality, super glossy, and give up a more premium feeling to them. There are also these amazing pre-painted parts, such as this piece right here. These are very nice bonus for the people who do not paint their model kits and just want to snap build and be done with it. Anyway, let us start cutting the parts of the runner using this cheap nipper first. I will be cutting them like this, leaving a tiny bit of the runner left. Because once we are done with the cutting of the parts from the runners, we will go over them again with this here higher quality nipper from DSPIA. These are the ultra thin single blade nippers that are produced using specially forged steel that has undergone high temperature smelting, allowing the Rockwell hardness of the blade to reach a rating of 58 to 64. Technically, these are cheaper alternative to the God hand nippers. You could cut the nub closer to the part like this, and because the blade is thin enough, it leaves just a tiny bit of nub mark that can be easily cleaned with sanding and absolutely no trace mark at all. Of course, there will be some part that leave very nasty nub mark no matter how hard you try, but mostly because of the bad and extra nub placement of the model kit itself and not the fault of this nipper. All in all, this DSPIA nipper is my go-to nippers for cutting apart from runners, and I highly recommend you get one of these for yourself. Now that the seamless promotion, cutting up the parts is over, we then proceed to the sanding of the nut marks. Once again, we will be using another product from DSPIA, the DSPIA sanding sponge. First, I go over the part with the 600 grit, followed by the 800 grit, and then the 1000 grit. Finally, I polish it off with a tiny bit of the 2000 grit. This cup of water here is not for drinking, but rather for wetting up the parts before and after sanding to remove the dust and plastic particles. During this whole progress, I will also pay extra attention to the sanding of these bowl joints and backs. The reason why I'm doing so is because the previous model kit from this same line had very stiff and tight joints, making it very easy to break even if you're just doing a snap build. The one area that you definitely need to pay attention to the most is this here hip joint. These pegs has been reported by quite many people to break easily, so give them an extra sanding to prevent yourself the further headache. I myself quite enjoy this part of the hobby because it is simple and relaxing. It came without any unnecessary stress, but speaking of stress and controversial hot takes, I am not going to.
Do a snap build and disassemble this kit before painting.
Now, I do understand the importance of snap building before painting, and it is the way for the builder to get familiar with the kit every nook and cranny before painting to prevent errors, but I've never encountered such problem, nor do I feel the need to do so.
Doesn't that mean you're just being lazy?
Yes.
But also because I hate disassembling, especially the one that took ages to come apart. Opposite of taking stuff apart, how about we fuse some of them together? There are some really nasty seam lines on this kit that will require immediate removal. But since I am lazy, I will only remove the seams line where it is most obvious, like the thighs and the forearm, to save time. All you really need is this Tamiya extra thin cement, a bit of elbow grease, and pushing parts together. And after letting the cement do its work for about 12 hours to a whole day, you can do the extra sanding on top to completely remove the seam line. Very nice! And that's pretty much conclude all the prep work needed for this model kit. Now, let's get everything a nice bath in the ultrasonic cleaner and let it run for 30 minutes to prepare for the painting tomorrow. This is also the good opportunity to give ourselves some time to cook this quick and simple dish, sauté broccolini in garlic. Despite their small size and sharing similar name to the broccoli, these broccolini is 1000% tastier. They have this strange but unique alien looks to them, which I believe pair pretty well with the model kit we're working on. Serving alongside them will be this tasty and extra nutritious stir-fried beef. For the 300 IQ Rick and Morty fan amongst our viewers, make sure to use the packaged Szechuan sauce to enhance the flavor even more. Once everything is done, plate it up and serve while hot. Taste test time, and what can I say? This is a very tasty dish. The MVP here is obviously this broccolini. I highly recommend giving this dish a try. And for those who are interested, there will be a link to a Google document which will feature the written recipe for this dish in the description. After we have stuffed ourselves to the brim with food, make sure to tuck yourself into bed comfortably and wait for the next day. Oh, hey! Hello there! Welcome to my basement! This is where we'll be painting up the kit using the combination of both airbrush and spray can we have available. But before we do that, let's mask up these pre-painted details to save ourselves the trouble of having to paint them again later. I will be using this airbrush masking putty. They are plastic safe and can be put over the part like this, which can be then smoothed out and shaped accordingly to the surface using either your hand or the toothpick. These are meant for more complicated parts like this one here, whereas using the normal masking tape would not require you to do extra work. Now, let's move on to some airbrushing, starting with priming using this here Vallejo surface primer. Fun fact, this is actually my first time airbrushing ever. To be honest, it was quite nerve-wracking doing this in front of the camera. While the initial attempt was quite successful and not bad at all for a total airbrushing noob like me, I did make a lot of mistakes. So much so, I had to cancel the shooting of that day and spend a couple of days off learning how to airbrush properly. I first practiced on some wood, only to then realize that the result would not work the same on plastic. This is such a huge bummer. Then, I had some practice on plastic spoons. The result was varied, and as you can see, I make some slow improvement, but I definitely did not get there yet. More practice is needed. It is at this point where I felt tons of stress and drowned myself in my sorrow with some Japanese sake. My first airbrushing experience wasn't a good one at all. But I did not give up. After the grueling 2 days training and watching tutorial on tips and tricks, I finally gained the blessing of the airbrush god. The most important thing I've learned is to mix the paint with the right consistency. Too thick of the paint and the airbrush will have trouble spraying. Too thin of paint and the paint will run everywhere. After some extra testing on spoon, I finally got the hang of it and I managed to spray the part in my desired color. I think I did quite decent job for myself, and I am open to hear other people's first airbrushing experience story, as well as learn more tips and tricks on how to do it properly. Please leave your experience in the comment section down below. Also, since I don't have this particular shade of black I needed for the airbrushing, for all of this black part, which is the majority of this model kit by the way, I will be using this Tamiya metallic black spray can. Quite anticlimactic to go through all that airbrushing struggle just to go back to spray canning, but I promise you guys, I will continue practicing and using the airbrush more for future builds. Once the paint is dried up, it's time to assemble everything together and do some extra detail work. For the detail painting, I will be hand painting using variety of Citadel paint. Evil Sun Scarlet and Abandoned Black was used for these red and black details. For the purple color, I used Nagorod Night, which is a very nice shade of purple that complements the metallic black quite well. Here's the quick look at the result. For the panel lining, I will be combining this here Vallejo model wash in tandem with this cheap $5 panel lining pen I got from eBay. It did its job quite well and produced quite even and nice looking panel line. You can easily clean up the mess using some lighter fluid and proceed to our next step. Now, this is my favorite part of the whole build, adding in the waterslide decals. I will be using this here unspecified decal sheet. Feel free to leave your guess on which original model kit this decal sheet is supposed to go to. For this build, I will be treating the decals as if they are tribal markings. Tattoos are super freaking cool, and I went super ham, adding them all over the whole chest and leg area of the model kit. Some of these decals, as you can see, did not fit the surface, so I have to also done some extra trimming and cutting for the fitting. In the end, I combined them together to create some amazing looking patterns. Once everything is applied and giving some time to dry up, we finally seal in the deal with this here gloss top coat. Some of the more eagle-eyed viewers may have also noticed this small figure in this shot. That's right, included with this model kit is a small miniature of the pilot, Lord Genome. This is the man of pure testosterone and manliness. However, the promo image of the painted figure that I show on the side of the box and online is a bit
oh my God, what's wrong with your face?
So I know I will have quite a trip painting this guy so that it is more in line with his anime portrayal. To start up, I will be priming with the airbrush now that I got some experience using it. While doing this, I definitely saw some improvement to my airbrushing skill as I went through the whole progress, and it did make me feel a bit more excited to do more airbrushing later. Once the primer is dried, we continued with our painting. Starting off with the base coat of the XV88 for that gorgeous and majestic foundation of that ebony skin. Followed by wash using Acrid Earthshade to pop out these muscle lines and add in the extra details. But I don't want the wash to overwhelm the whole model, so I went over it again with the base coat, making sure to spare the shaded area. Now, let's get technical by creating a blend between the base color and the lighter Zambezi Desert to give some highlight to our muscle area. Next, I will go over those highlights again with the lighter color to complement them and make them pop out even more. And here we have this beautiful skin tone using a simple 3-shaded recipe. Finally, I go over the painting of all these other tiny details and paint the pant using this contrast paint, which serves as both a base coat and a shade. And that's pretty much it for the painting of this mini figurine. If you would like to learn more model painting technique so as to paint this guy, for example, then I highly recommend you check out my friend Liam at Millennial Model Mayhem. We started YouTube at pretty much the same time as each other, and his content is similar to mine, but his skill with the brush is way more advanced. The link to his channel will be in the description of the video. Anyway, I think I've talked way too much, so let's move on to the much awaited review.
Are
I see that you've somehow managed to arrive. Man of the Spiral.
Lord Genome.
Ignorance is such a frightening thing. You might believe yourselves to be fighting on the side of righteousness, but I am the one who is truly protecting this world. It is I, Lord Genome, who is the ultimate guardian of humanity.
Mia, Yoko, Rossio, Ron, Kitan, Dayaka. Every member of Team Daiguren believes in me. The me that my bro believed in, the me that I believe in, isn't ever gonna lose to the likes of you!
ありしだした思いは今でもこの胸は確かにいてってるから
Oh no!
Thank you all for watching this video. If you like it, make sure to slap that like button really hard, subscribe and hit the bell icon for future content similar to this, and I'll see you all next time.